As you might remember, last year we had the pleasure of having the Lunigiana International Music Festival here for a celebration of Puccini. It was a wonderful evening, very successful. And this year our friends, and in particular Chantal Balestri, that has a past here in New York, at New York University, approached us for this program dedicated to Guido Alberto Fano, not as famous as Puccini, but definitely a real protagonist of contemporary music. And we embraced it with great passion and curiosity and interest, because we think his story deserves to be known, and his musical is beautiful and also deserves to be performed. So this is the reason why we are here tonight, to give a chance to the Festival della Lunigiana to talk about what they do, their activities, their courses that they offer, the master classes, the concert, and so on and so forth. But for us, it's also a journey of discovery or rediscovery of a great musician of the 20th century. So without further ado, I would like to ask you to welcome Chantal Balestri, who is the director of the festival.
Thank you, everyone. I have, unfortunately, a low voice, so I hope you can hear me. But I'm trying. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you again for having us. Thank you, Vitale Fano, for accepting that. This is an amazing moment because we celebrate an Italian composer who has not been known. Not because it's not absolutely, not to say that, because his music could not be distributed and promoted. This is why, because of his origin. And we will see that, you will hear about his story. So I'm not speaking about that too much right now. So I'm very, very happy to bring that. And by doing that, they are participating, the artists of the festival, which is already the 8th edition. We do the festival every summer in Tuscany, in Italy, Lunigiana, which is a part of Tuscany. And it's so beautiful to see them coming back. As you can see on the program, there are some of the winners of past editions. And so it's a moment to celebrate this musical composer that unfortunately, for the reason that you will see, has not been performed a lot. So, and you will see there are people from all around the world doing that for such an important cause like the Giorno della Memoria. So also thanks to Centro Primo Levi for that. So nothing, I wanted just to say that there is a lot of combination with youth, there is education in this, there is a promotion, Italian culture, Italian music, a rediscover of new programs. So tonight we're really thinking and celebrating a lot of his different aspects and values. So thank you so much, and I'm very happy. And also I'm here on behalf of Andrea Rossi, who is the president of the festival, and he wishes he was also here tonight, because of course he's very happy with the project. And I also want to thank Gianluigi Giannetti, who is the mayor of Fivizzano, which is, which is the place where the festival is mainly happening in Lunigiana. So, so we are happy to be represented here. So thank you. Yes, of course. Vitale Fano, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. I am very happy to be here. I thank Chantal Balestri for the idea of celebrate the 150 years from the birth of Guido Alberto Fano, who was born in 1875. And I thank also Casa Italiana, because this place is very important for us. And to speak, to hear music of Guido Alberto Fano in the United States is a very exclusively things. So thank you very much. Ah, sì. He was my grandfather. I am his grandson. Not only this, but in Venice I have I received the heritage of Guido Alberto Fano, so all the manuscripts, musical manuscript documents, the bibliothèque, and so in Venice it's conserved in my house. This archive is very rich and very interesting. Thank you.
Signore gentilissime, credendo che io segua l'abitudine moderna da cui aborro di parlare a lungo delle proprie composizioni, o meglio spesso elucubrazioni, e di investigare chissà quali reconditi intendimenti e profondi filosofemi intorno alle medesime. Al contrario, pochissime parole per pregare codesto nobile uditorio di ascoltare le mie musiche con l'intelletto e soprattutto il cuore, liberi da ogni preconcetto di vecchio e nuovo, di classico e romantico, di retrogrado e avanguardista. Verba, verba, praetereaque nihil.
This was the voice of Guido Alberto Fano as he introduced his final concert in 1959 in Venice. It marked the last act of an artistic career that began many years earlier in Padua, where Fano was born on May 18, 1875, to Vitale Fano and Anna Forlì. He was the youngest of 5 children, Emilio, Emanuele, Emma, and Clelia. He was given the names Aronne Guido Alberto, but he never used the first of the 3. For some years he signed as Guido and definitively as Guido Alberto. In Padua, Guido grew up in a Jewish family and studied music with Vittorio Refice, a master of choral singing and bel canto, and then with Cesare Pollini, court pianist of Queen Margherita di Savoia and director of the Music Institute of Padua, who taught him piano and composition. In 1894, Pollini thought it best for Guido to continue his studies abroad. After introducing him to Richard Strauss, he considered sending him to Munich. However, he first wanted to hear the opinion of Giuseppe Martucci, one of Italy's greatest pianists, composers, and conductors, who was then director of the Bologna Musical High School. "You are Italian and must stay in Italy," exclaimed Martucci after hearing Fano play, and admitted Fano to his advanced composition class in Bologna, where Guido remained for 3 years and graduated as master composer with full marks and honor in 1897, becoming Martucci's favorite pupil. His career began swiftly and brilliantly. He won the Milan Quartet Society Composition Competition, receiving a prize of 1,000 lire, about $7,000 today. And in 1900, he received an honorable mention as at the prestigious Anton Rubinstein Composition Competition in Vienna. He performed concerts as pianist and composed a great deal of music, which was published by various publishers. In Bologna, Fano interacted with musicians and poets, including, at times, the great Italian poets Giosuè Carducci and Gabriele D'Annunzio, and composed many songs, such as the Tre Canti we are about to hear, setting of poems by Luigi Arturo Bresciani, a poet who passed away in 1890. These youthful works reveal in the composer, then barely in his 20s, a natural gift for melody, solid compositional skills, and an elegant expressiveness.
In mezzo al verde marce una marranza, vola sull'onde in faccia l'ampio ciel, e la barchetta della mia speranza dei soli nodi del mio cuore a me. In mezzo al mare
When Guido moved to Bologna, he settled in the house of his uncle Giuseppe, his father's brother, who had 5 daughters, Flora, Bianca, Bice, Clara, and Lina, all of whom were university graduates. Spending time in his uncle's home led to the blossoming of a deep love between him and the second of the 5 cousins, Bianca, who was 10 years older than himself. Their love was irresistible, and it culminated in their marriage in 1899 in Bologna. The following years, their first son, Vitale, was born. Guido Alberto worked as piano teacher at the Bologna Music High School, but Italy at the time, much like today, offered a few opportunities for a pianist composer specializing in instrumental music to build a significant career. For this reason, in 1905, Fano attempted to establish himself abroad and spent about a month in Berlin, where he performed a considerable number of concerts, receiving highly positive and flattering reviews. In Berlin, he met and befriended Ferruccio Busoni, the great Italian pianist and composer who would continue to hold him in high esteem. In fact, in 1913, Busoni wrote, Fano, among the most gifted and interesting composers of contemporary Italy, I name Guido Alberto Fano, whose works include, among many others, a piano sonata of great style. My dear Bianca, wrote Guido to his wife, life in Berlin is so hectic that it leaves not a moment to spare. In recent days, I met Busoni, who has developed a strong fondness for me. He invited me to lunch, he inquired about my situation, and hinted at whether I would be willing to go to Chicago as a piano professor if the general director of musical affairs there, who was in Berlin searching for suitable teachers, had not yet finalized a contract with someone else. For a brief moment, you almost received a letter that would have read something like this. My darling, pack up everything and set sail for Chicago. Just like that. The following morning, I met the aforementioned director. He had already reached an agreement with the pianist here, but he still wanted to hear me play and urged me to study English because by next September, they would likely need another professor. Finally, Fano went neither to Berlin nor to Chicago. Instead, his career took root in Italy when, in 1905, he won the competition for the position of director at the Parma Conservatory. His victory was supported by Arturo Toscanini, who was a member of the selection committee. He remained in Parma for 7 years, and in 1908, within the very walls of the conservatory, where the director had his own apartment, his second son, Fabio, was born. Fabio would follow in his father's footsteps, becoming both a pianist and musicologist. These were the happiest years of Guido's family life, professional career, and artistic endeavors. As a conductor, he led 2 opera seasons at the Teatro Regio in Parma, and during this period he composed his most monumental works, including Juturna, an opera with Wagnerian influences, inspired by Latin mythology and drawn from Virgil's Aeneid. These years also brought important recognitions. In 1910 and 1911, the renowned conductor Tullio Serafin conducted his works in Rome and Turin. Now we will listen Allegro Appassionato for violino e pianoforte, composed in 1896. This agreement, made in Cincinnati, Ohio, on 25th day of July 1911, between Mr. Guido Fano, party of the first part, and the College of Music of Cincinnati, party of the second part, witnessed. The party of the first part, for the consideration hereinafter expressed, agrees to perform service as a teacher of piano and theory, if required, at the College of Music of Cincinnati, to the full and thorough satisfaction of the Board of Trustees of the College of Music from September 1st, 1911 to July 1st, 1914. In consideration of the above-mentioned services, the party of the second part agrees to pay to the party of the first part the sum of $2,500 in 10 monthly payments of $250 each. The opportunity to move to the United States presented itself once again. It was an alluring prospect, especially considering that the annual salary of $25,000 in 1911 is equivalent to about $75,000 today, more than double than the 6,000 lire Guido Alberto earned annually, approximately $32,000 today, as the director of Conservatorio of Parma. Fano only needed to sign the contract and return it, but despite the arrangements having been made, he declined the offer. The official reason for the refusal was the frail health of his wife Bianca, but perhaps it was his deep affection for Italy and the fear of making such a permanent decision that prevented Guido and his family from leaving. Once again, America remained a distant dream, or a fleeting vision, Fuggevole visione, which is the title of the piano piece we are about to hear, composed at the age of 17. However, a move was now in the air, and in 1912 Fano was appointed director of the Conservatory of San Pietro Maiella in Naples, the biggest, oldest and most prestigious conservatory in Italy. Yet problems soon arose in Naples. The local community split into two factions, one supporting him and the other strongly opposing to the appointment of the northern director. In the first 2 years, he achieved good results in the school and received great satisfaction as a conductor, leading successfully symphonic concerts at the Teatro San Carlo. But in 1914, the minister who had supported him was replaced by one who backed his enemies, rendering his work increasingly difficult. In 1916, he was transferred to the direction of Conservatory of Palermo. This transfer was a devastating blow to Fano's career and health, and even in Sicily he encountered an unwelcome environment that plunged him into 6 years of depression and isolation, far from Italy's major musical and cultural centers. Nevertheless, he worked intensively, composed the piano quintet, one of his most important compositions, and performed the chamber music concerts with excellent Sicilian musicians. The pain, the wild sea in which he had to navigate are well described in the song Passa, nave mia, based on a poem by Heinrich Heine translated by Giosuè Carducci.
Passa la nave mia con vele nere, per selvaggio mare.
Tired of the struggles and hardships that came with his role as director, Guido requested to return to teaching, and in 1922 he was appointed professor of piano at the Milan Conservatory. Here his life became somewhat more peaceful. His way of teaching piano was highly regarded and in great demand. He trained many students, including his son Fabio, seen to his right in this photo. Among his students was Enrica Cavallo, a well-known Italian pianist who later married the great violinist Franco Gulli, with whom she moved to Bloomington, Indiana, in the United States. He also resumed performing chamber music concerts. During one of Fano's rehearsals with violinist Enrico Polo, Toscanini famously remarked that he had never heard chamber music performed at such a level. During these years, Fano became so well known that he was invited to provide a testimonial for a famous liqueur, Cordial Campari. After more than 15 years of inactivity, he began composing again. He wrote several vocal pieces, chamber music, and 2 piano works, Imago and Solitudo, which convey a sense of solitude and contemplation. Both pieces are guided by poetic, spiritual, and naturalistic imagery expressed in a few lines before the musical text. The first, Imago, is inspired by Mount Pellegrino near Palermo. The 30s were a terrible time for opponents of fascism and for Jews. The Fano family too suffered from the growing wave of anti-Semitism. In 1936, they were forced to forfeit their villa in Riccione because it bordered with the property of Mussolini's wife, who wanted to expand her estate. His dear friend, Senatore Ettore Tolomei, the librettist of his opera Iuturna, received a blunt response from the Minister of Popular Culture, Dino Alfieri, when he proposed to stage in Fano's opera, not Aryan, out of the question. In 1938, with the disgraceful racial laws banning Jews from holding public positions, Guido was dismissed for the Milan Conservatory. Once again, he considered leaving for America. He wrote to a former American student, John William Thalman, by then the director of the Conservatory of Music in Iowa Falls, Iowa, asking for help in securing a musical position in the United States. Thalman made efforts on his behalf, reaching out to John Majeski, the director of Musical America, the oldest classical music magazine in the USA. However, Majestic's response was far from encouraging, reflecting the difficulties of that historical moment. Dear Mr. Thalman, it is difficult to express one's opinion at this time on the possibilities of obtaining a position for your former teacher and his son. As you can no doubt appreciate, there are many things to be considered. First of all, there are not enough positions available today for those musicians in this country who are desirous of teaching. Secondly, just what will develop in the international situation within the next few months is hard to predict. I recall the sentiments that have prevailed during the last war, when the musicians of enemy countries were boycotted from all sides, and there is every reason to believe that if a similar situation developed there would be the same feeling. In other words, my dear Mr. Thalman, the men for whom you are inquiring might find themselves in a most embarrassing situation if this country would actually enter the war. Once again, the idea of emigrating in the United States did not materialize, and Guido Alberto was forced to remain in Milan in an increasingly tense and dangerous situation. Ansietà, written in 1932, is a tense and pressing piece, the result of a sophisticated expressive exploration that vividly conveys the tensions of those years. From 1940 onward, Italy was at war, and Jews lived under increasingly difficult conditions. After the Allied bombing of Milan in February 1943, when Italy was still allied with Germany, it was clear that staying in the city had become too dangerous. On March 4, the Fano family left for Fossombrone in the center of Italy, where they were sheltered by a priest friend, Don Giovanni Vernarecci. Thanks to this escape, the family avoided the Nazi deportation that began in December 1943 from platform 21 on Milan's Central Station. Hundreds of Jews, partisans, and political prisoners were loaded onto cattle cars and sent to Auschwitz. In early December 1943, the family moved to Assisi, the sacred the city of St. Francis, where they were given refuge in a convent of Claretian nuns with false identity papers. The emotional turmoil of those tragic years is powerfully conveyed in another piano piece from the 30s, Solitudo, which was composed while reading Sister Beatrice by the Belgian poet Maurice Maeterlinck. Assisi was liberated from German occupation in June 1944, but the Fano family remained there for another year, waiting for the war to end. During this time, life in Assisi became more peaceful, one might even say normal. The eldest son, Vitale, worked as a teacher and became the father of a beautiful baby girl named Bianca after her grandmother. Fabio performed the concerts and Guido Alberto resumed composing. In 1945 he wrote 8 songs for soprano and piano, 7 set to poems by Gabriele D'Annunzio and 1 on a poem of Giosuè Carducci. We will listen O falce di luna calante by Gabriele D'Annunzio and Ad Annie, dedicated by Giosuè Carducci to her beloved writer Annie Vivanti.
D'argento, col mese di sogni, ondeggia tua neve, chiarore aneliti brevi di foglie, di fiora, di frutti dal bosco, e salo dal mare. Non canto, non grido, non suono, il vostro silenzio va. Ho preso d'amore da piacere, il popol dei vivi s'addorme. O falce calante, qual mese di sogni, ondeggia tua mete, chiarore batto alla chiusa imposta con un ramicello di fiori, glauchi ed azzurri, come i tuoi occhi vede il sole corriso d'un tremulo raggio baciato la nube gli ha detto nuvola bianca t'apri. Senti i vento nei labi con fresco sospiro saluta la bella e dice candida vela mera luce discende dall'umido cielo sul pesco in fiore e trilla vermiglia bionda
I, the undersigned, former director of the Royal Conservatories of Music in Parma, Naples, and Palermo, was forced into early retirement in 1934 before the prescribed age due to my belonging to the Jewish race. During the years of fascist tyranny, I never wished to join the party, despite being a state official. When racial persecution reached its peak, I was forced to hide in Assisi. Now, at last, with all of Italy liberated by the glorious Allied forces, I can and must return to my home in Milan. The suffering, obstacles, and losses I have endured, particularly the devastation of my artistic and professional career, as well as that of my two sons, are unimaginable. Returning home and to normal life in an Italy devastated by 5 years of war was filled with difficulties. Nevertheless, he resumed giving concerts and composed his last orchestral work. In 1950, he lost his wife Bianca, and in 1954, his son Vitale, but music kept him alive. At the age of 84, he performed his last concerts, first in Milan and then in Venice, interpreting his sonata for cello and piano with cellist Libero Rossi, and first cello of La Scala Orchestra, as well as songs for voice and piano with soprano Tina Quagliarella. On April 12, 1961, an event brought him immense joy, the birth of his first grandson, Vitale, son of Fabio and his daughter-in-law, Giovanna. Knowing that a young Fano had come into the world to carry on the family name filled his last month with happiness. 4 months later, while on vacation in Tarrano in Spilimbergo, in Friuli Venezia Giulia, in the north of Italy, he woke up one morning feeling in a sharp malaise. There's not even time to call a doctor. Within moments, his life came to a peaceful yet unexpected end. It was August 14, 1961. His final concern had been returning to Milan. He needed to work to secure a future for his beloved grandson. Today, that once little Fano, now grown, stands before you, working to secure a future to his memory, also in America. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to our, well, I'm sorry, to our wonderful artists, because I wanted to say that, of course, we didn't know the composer, so we took this opportunity. I'm so happy to see this result, to see all of this. Also was for you beautiful to see, because we need, of course, to keep this legacy continuing. So we need young people to continue to perform the piece, and they hopefully like it. And so someone here probably heard about them. So we want to keep doing this music, continue to do that. So it was an honor for us as Lunigiana International Music Festival, having the first representation of a concert dedicated to the music of Alberto Fano. So Guido Alberto Fano. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much, Vitale. Do you want to say something? Okay. Don't rush away, because we have some food upstairs and some wine, which is always nice. And I brought also something from Lunigiana, so you get to taste a little bit of our territory. So I hope you enjoy. And yes, we are here. So hopefully we will continue this collaboration. Absolutely, it's wonderful to be here again. So thank you again, everyone.